One defect lane, one pineapple rolls into a side tube, still visible, main belt stays packaged. One steam past brief steam has loose peel. Condensation fades off with an air spirit. Clean surf, shimmering juice, strip style dry pineapple. Shimmering juice, strip style dry pineapple. Moisture confirmation. Sensor reads dried pineapple ring. Green indicator flashes with Japanese white blurred. Approved dried pineapple. Moisture confirmation. Sensor reads dried pineapple ring. Green indicator flashes with Japanese white blurred. Approved dried pineapple.
E1 Wash Stage 3. Rotating drum washer rolls pineapples slowly as water cascades through perforations. Close-up shows
E1 Wash Stage 5 High Pressure Rinse Bar Stripe skins in clean diagonal lines. Fruit glows under white light. Water Secondary Precision Rinse for dried pineapple.
E1 Multi-Stage Overview. A carpet of pineapples moves through wet zones in sequence. Fruit color dominating against stainless washings, grinds.
E1 defect lane, one pineapple rolls into a side chute, still visible, main belt stays packed with perfect fruit, clean batch for dried pineapple.
E1 steam peel pass. Brief steam haze loosens peel. Condensation beads on fruit, then air knives clear it. Clean surface for dried pineapple.
E1 coring punch. A tube presses through the center, fibrous core pops out while the hollow center stays visible, forming ring-ready fruit for dried pineapple. E1 core eject. Core cylinder drops into a chute, still clearly pineapple fiber. Cored fruit continues with hole centered, uniform for dried pineapple. E1 ring rinse. Rings pass through a gentle shower. Droplets sparkle along edges. Fruit always centered. Clean rings for dried pineapple.
E1 strip cutting. Rings slice into uniform strips. Strips fall into parallel lanes shimmering with juice. Strip-style dried pineapple.
E1 optical sort on rings. LEDs scan. A gentle air puff redirects one ring while it remains visible. Uniformity for dried pineapple.
E1 antioxidant mist. Fine spray settles on rings to preserve bright color. Microdroplets merge into a thin sheen, stabilizing for dried pineapple.
E1 light sugaring option. Diluted syrup mist coats rings lightly. Glossy highlights bloom while fruit stays dominant. Flavor support for dried pineapple.
B1 cool air knives. Rings exit steam and pass under filtered cool air. Droplets vanish. Pineapple remains vivid, ready for B2 dried pineapple drying.
E1 thin ring variation. A different slicer produces thinner halos. Top down shows tighter repetition of circles. Varied cuts for dried pineapple.
E1 moisture wipe rollers. Soft rollers remove excess surface water. Macro shows moisture lifting while fruit stays intact.
One last quick rinse, one final purified wash glitters across rings. Belt remains fully fruit-filled. Final cleanliness for dried pineapple.
One slice to strip again. Rings split into strips, aligning like golden rails. Macro tracks fibers stretching like threads, strip form for dried pineapple.
B2 early zone. Rings still glossy, moisture beads gather then evaporate slowly, edges barely starting to curl. Early transformation to dried pineapple.
B2 belt early pass. Warm airflow sweeps over rings. Sheen gradually dulls while fruit stays centered. Early drying toward dried pineapple.
B2 mid-cubes. Cubes sit on mesh. Corners dry first. Sugar flecks begin to sparkle. Mid-stage cube dried pineapple.
B2 dehumidified airflow. Rings flutter slightly under gentle air without lifting. Pores look sharper as moisture retreats toward dried pineapple.
B2 sensor check. Moisture sensor hovers above rings. A small green confirmation appears while fruit stays sharp. Controlled dried pineapple targets.
B2 flip for evenness. Mechanism flips rings again. Underside appears more matte. Fruit always centered. Uniform dried pineapple drying.
B2 late mid. Rings deepen to amber gold. Edges more translucent. Tiny sugar sparkle appears, nearing dried pineapple.
B2 strip curl. Strip ends curl slightly, wrinkles set like ribbon waves. Camera tracks curled tips. Strip dried pineapple nearing finish. B2 conditioning belt. Warmed rings rest briefly as moisture equalizes. Macro shows sheen stabilizing from tacky to balanced, finalizing dried pineapple.
B2 crumb sifter. Dried pineapple pieces bounce gently on mesh. Crumbs fall away while fruit stays central, cleaning finished dried pineapple.
B2 light sugar dust. A fine powder cloud coats dried pineapple lightly. Macro shows powder settling into wrinkles, finishing dried pineapple.
B2 moisture confirmation. Sensor reads a dried pineapple ring. Green indicator flashes with Japanese UI blurred. Approved dried pineapple.
B2 conditioning tray macro. Dried pineapple rests in shallow trays. Matte surfaces and amber edges stable. Final set for dried pineapple. B2 separation comb. Gentle rails prevent dried pineapple rings from sticking. Pieces separate cleanly and continue flow control for dried pineapple.
B2 final merge. Rings and strips merge into a wider lane, both clearly dried pineapple. Camera holds on the merge pattern. Hand off to B3 dried pineapple.